Hey, what's up, my construction entrepreneurs? Been a minute. But hey, so what's up? I'm still trucking the. That's not the Rona. Okay. But anyway, I'm still trucking along. Busy as I don't know what. Brought on more people. I think we got like, I want to say maybe 14 people on board, 12 to 14 people on board. And trying to finish up an apartment unit in Highland Park. We're trying to finish up that. We have run over on that, so we're trying to meet a new due date of this Friday, which is tough. I'm gonna have to definitely work this weekend, to get it in, to complete that, so we can sign that one off. But what I got on here about is to I like to share issues that I'm having on different projects with different customers, and the steps I'm taking to rectify those issues. So I like to discuss the issues that I made, things that I do have that I can utilize, and basically what, their standpoint of the whole thing, and just lay out everything to you in this whole issue. Okay, so that way you know what to do when you run into a situation like this. So right now, I have an issue to where the Madrid apartments, ones I'm doing, that I've always been at videoing. Now, I haven't been over there in, months working, because I got a crew there working. I had a subcontractor painting there that we had to let go. That was over there. They did 60 plus units with me over there, and we had to let them go because their quality just wasn't upholding, and schedule wise, this things wasn't working out anymore. So I'm down a painter on that project, right? So I have started 3 units. I started 3 units, and I only did demo with those 3 units. So they're like, hey, Tyrone, and I gotta be done by the 1st. They're like, hey, Tyrone, you need to get done with these units. You got 3 left. You only did demo. When are you painting them? Like, hey, man, I'll paint these units. It's coming up. I'm working on the sub. I'll paint them. Well, I got a notice, a text message yesterday saying something about basically threatening me about moving forward on this project. Now, let me give you the scoop, taking this all the way back, because that's where we're at now. I got a basically a text message, basically like, hey, you don't move on this, I'm gonna get someone else out there. Also, too, if something about if you're late, I'm gonna charge you. The customer's gonna charge us $500, and I'm gonna pass that down to you. And you may get people that talk to you this way, okay? Or you may even talk to someone this way as well. And that's why it's important to have contracts in place. Now, let's take it back to the beginning of this. One of my partnerships, I let go and moved and started. Well, the company was already started. I went back on full time with another partnership I had. So I had several partnerships of construction companies. Okay. One of them that was doing the Madrid apartments, I have let go. We have moved away from that partnership. The person that's with me in my company now, we have always been partners in different types of construction companies. But we was always a partner in this one. We was always a partner in the one with my license, and then we also have one with this individual that was with this particular company that was doing work at Madrid. I don't want to say the name. So anyway, so I moved away from that company. So literally I stopped doing units for that particular company and started the next batch of units with my new company, right? With my existing company that's ramping up pretty big, and that I'm currently working with right now, right? So I stopped the units there, finished off that contract with that partnership, and started the next units, the next batch of units, which I have already completed. Okay, I did 4 units under my company now. Did 4 units. when we before I started it, I had to fill out this trade app information to become a vendor for that customer to be able to successfully trade everything over to the new company, right? I finished the trade app, sent through, everything is good. I made it on time. I was able to start the units that I already completed with my company. I didn't have to go underneath that old partnership that was finishing out. So I was happy. Well, my contact at the company I'm working for, the project manager, says, hey, I'm going to do your contract before you invoice. So mind you, first mistake I made, I'm starting work without having an SCA in place, right? Subcontractor agreement. That's what an SCA is. So now I'm making a mistake, but I've been doing work with them for so long, right? I've done 9 apartments for them, right? So sometimes you'll find yourself in this situation where you have an existing relationship established, things change, and you may be doing things unethical. You may be doing things that are not legal, like extra work without filing an extra work change order, contract work for other projects without actually fully having a contract because they need your help on it, right? So here it is, I'm moving forward without having a contract in place, right? I just switched it over. I signed up, got approved as a vendor, submit all my insurances. I had to submit financial information. I had to submit everything. Like, it was, they wanted to know everything about me to make sure I was a viable company. So luckily, I've been in operation for a while, right? So I was able to send them all that information, and the project manager says, hey, Tyrone, jump on these units. I'll do your SCA before you invoice. Now, I got 3 weeks to complete those units. So I'm like, okay, no problem. That's fine. So just as it starts to get to the end of the invoice, I say, hey, let's get that contract started, this and that. Some delay happens, and I'll say, hey, let's do that. I'm ready to invoice. I want to get my invoice in. It wasn't time for me to invoice, but I knew the individual I was messing with, so I wanted to get him on it a little early, to really get going. And I knew it wasn't going to take that long. Well, anyway, so more time passed, and then this whole coronavirus hit too, right? Well, in the midst of this coronavirus, I was still moving forward on that project. But in the midst of that, the owner of the apartment building decided to cancel the contract with the company I'm doing the work for, right? They decided to cancel the contract with them. So it was like, okay, hey, finish off the next 4 units, and then they took one off. So they say, hey, finish off the next 3 units, and then that in the contract. Now, mind you, I'm already coming to completion with the 4 units, and then after those, I got another batch of 3, right? So this gentleman I'm talking to gets at me and says, hey, let's not do a contract since it's only 3 units. There's 3 units left. There's no more after that here. Let's not do a contract here. Just keep it the same. I said, hey, man, keep it the same with what? With the other company. I said, that company is no longer doing the work. These guys are under my company payroll. I can't do that, right? I can't do that. So he says, well, the office is a skeleton crew now, and they can't really do this contract thing because of the whole this virus thing. People working from home, so it's hard to communicate with people, and they can't get it done. I'm like, dude, you need to get it done, man. This is what happened here. This is what we need to do, right? So I said, I wanted to work with the guy. I said, hey, man, listen, how about we do this? How about we create a joint check? Because I don't want my check coming into a company that I'm no longer associated with. So write a joint check to where both our names are on it, and that way that company just needs to sign it and then give me the check, and then I can deposit it into my own company bank account, right? So some companies, like when we did Walmart's, all those Walmart's, the other time when we was doing Walmarts, running back and forth all over California doing Walmarts. That's what they did with us with our subs to make sure that we paid our subs. They'll do a joint check. We'll sign off on the joint check. We'll get it endorsed, send it to the bank, get it endorsed, and then we'll give that sub that check, and then they'll go be able to deposit into their bank account. And that ensures that the general contractors ensures that the sub are getting paid on the project, and that's how that happens. Okay. Well, I asked him. I said, "Hey, maybe we can do something like that." Well, he kind of lollygagged around. I said, "Hey, man, I'm not doing it unless you give me someone in accounting their contact. I need to see that they are saying it's okay, before I submit my invoice. Because mind you, I already completed the unit, so he does that. Well, recently, with the first text message I first told you about, with him saying, "Hey, if you don't get over there and get your painters there, we're going to pass down $500." It was just a real bunch of attitude. So since I realized there's an attitude here, that snapped me back to really doing things the right way and not working with an individual like this. So I'm like, hey, to protect myself legally, you need to write me a contract moving forward, and I'll send you over a schedule to get my contractors and do my part. Now, mind you, the reason why I'm saying do my part, because per all the emails, the back and forth, the text messages I got, I'm considering us having a contract already. I even started work. I got payroll on this job. Basically, I even got emails saying that he's going to start my SCA, everything. Text messages, I got all this information, right? That I will use that's for my benefit, right? So since I'm using that information as part of contract, because there's also a deal, this is also a deal too, is that they can give you a right to start, which is called commencement of work. They could just literally send you an email like commencement of work, and that's good enough to start. That's good enough for contract wise, and you can literally start a project. Okay. So I'm going off of that as commencement of work, and on my end, that's what I'm using right now. Okay. That's what I'm using to start on my end. Okay. So, so now, because I'm using that, and I'm basically saying that, hey, I'm doing this work because we have an agreement here, similar to the agreement with my last company. So I need to continue to do my part while I push them for that SCA, right? Now, one of the things he said in his text was that, hey, they're going to charge us $500 and I'm going to pass it down to you. One of the things I told him back was like, you're not going to back charge me anything. If it's not in my contract, you're not going to back charge me a thing. And they don't even write contracts like that. So you got to understand that, hey, even though I don't have a contract in place, it's the same contract I had before. It will be the same contract I had before, just changed over names. That will be at the new company. And you passing over 500 just because my completion date is the 1st. Today is the 15th, I believe. 16th, whatever it is. Plenty of time to complete those units. Plenty of time. It don't even make sense, okay? So what I would normally do in a situation like this, right? I would send my crew out there. They'd probably go out there tomorrow. Now, since I have my crew out there tomorrow and I'm backed, I'm backed. I'm doing my part. I usually contact the owner of the apartment buildings. Either the owner or the management company. I usually contact them, okay? I'll contact them, and what I'll do is, once I contact them, I'll, hold on here, let me park, get out here. Once I contact them, I'll contact the owner, and I'll literally start my prelim information. Once the owner gets wind of the prelim information, dude, things start rolling downhill real quick. So one thing you got to realize is that The people that you normally deal with, like these project managers, these superintendents, or whatever they want to call themselves, that's running these jobs out in the field, they don't really understand the legal part of what a contractor can actually do to create a nightmare situation on a project. I can literally contact the owner. I can literally call my guy in mortgage, get the owner who owns the apartments, not who manages it, who owns the apartments, get that person's name, literally contact the management company, file a prelim, send an email with the owner's name in it to the key people at that company. Okay? How do you get the information to the key people at the management company? You either go to their website. If their office is local, you can go to their office. But usually if you go to their website, they will list some, if they're a nice sized management company, they will have information on there about their team, about their company, and you will get enough information from there to proceed. Sometimes you have to call, you get some names, you get an email address on who you need to talk to because you're having issues on one of the apartments and it's getting out of hand. They will give you someone at the top that you need to speak to. And you can literally start at the top and watch that stuff roll downhill in a matter of 48 hours. I guarantee you. Okay? But I'm not going to do that on this route. What I'm going to do on this route, I'm actually going to give this company a shot, and I'm going to contact the director, and I'm going to CC some other key people that I have dealt with before within this company, and I'm going to actually let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my schedule. I need an SCA contract. I've been waiting on one. I've been dealing with this person. Please get me a contract as soon as possible. I have all the information in black and white that I was supposed to get a contract before I completed the units that's already completed. I will attach the matrix. See, this is a lot of paperwork here. And this is what we don't like to do as contractors. And I don't like to do it either. But this is something that we need to learn and we need to do when we need to do it. You need to sit down and you must sit down, write down the information as far as the email, produce the documents that's necessary to validate what you're stating. Okay? I have all the emails, I have all the paperwork, I have the matrix that show when I completed those units, what date I completed them. I have the email saying that he was gonna write me a SCA. They know I completed the trade app and under the new company. So I'm gonna be attaching some key information, some key documents to that email, and I'm gonna actually CC a lot of people on this email and get some and then I'm gonna let the director know my next step is corporate. Okay, and then I'm gonna doing this email, right? So basically, instead of me going to their customer, which is the owner of the apartment building, right? I'm backtracking and I'm going to what is like to be ethical, right? Whatever, to be ethical. I'm going to the next step. I usually skip that step and jump to this step, right? Well, there's two steps. There's here. So to be ethical, you want to go to your customer, right? Your management team of your customer, which is the project manager. You're not getting anywhere there. You go to his boss, top, the director, right? I don't even try to go to project engineer. Just go to director after that. And then after director is corporate, right? And then after corporate, then it's the customer, their customer, right? Well, I'm going through this channel. I'm going to go through the director, but I'm also CCing some people that's in corporate into that email, to that thread. So I'm reaching a little bit past the director, but I'm actually directly communicating with the director to see what they're going to do. So I want to apply a little pressure. Already talked to the project manager. That person is not acting the way he should act communication-wise for us to get things done. And the reason, you got to realize this, the reason why that project manager is acting like that, because he's probably telling, whatever he's telling the director is probably not the full story, but whatever he's telling them, he's getting the okay to communicate to me the way he is. So now I need to put pressure on the director by including some corporate in there. But now let's say the director doesn't pull through, right? Now, wait a minute. You can't just expect somebody to pull through within 24 hours. You got to give them a good enough time, even though it's a pressing issue. Even though it is an issue, you got to give them time to respond, okay? I had an issue where someone contacted me, and matter of fact, this guy contacted me, and because I didn't respond that next morning, he sent me another nasty text that led to me now taking this route, right? Well, I'm busy, just give me some time to respond, man, or at least give me a deadline to respond. I didn't know your deadline in your head was for me to respond that morning, and then you was going to flip out. I didn't know that. Man, you have no idea what people are going through, what people are doing. And then a lot of people come from an employee standpoint. See, when you're thinking as an employee, dude, I'm an owner. I got plenty of things going on. So, he's thinking as an employee, he got 1 or 2 jobs he's worrying about. I got enough to worry about. So there's certain people in different key positions that need to be given ample time to respond. So since I'm emailing the director, I'm going to give them 48 hours to respond back to me. But the response is okay. So let me phrase this. Maybe that's the wrong word. The response needs to be immediate. Okay. What I'm asking for, the result, the SCA, needs to happen within the 48 hour. Before the 48 hours is at the time of it needs to happen within the 48 hours. So I'm asking for SCA. So he has 48 hours to give me an SCA. If he doesn't want to respond and only send the SCA on Monday, then that's fine. I'm okay with that. You don't even have to say anything, right? The project manager can call me Monday and say, hey, at the end of the day, Monday, say, hey, I have your SCA. I'm sending it over to you right now. 30 minutes before 5 o'clock. Okay. I'm okay with that too, but you got to give these people in key positions ample enough time, especially if you want to climb up the ladder. It takes them time to respond. It takes them time to gather the information they need to gather to approach you to deal with the situation, okay? Sometimes, like the person I'm reaching out to, the director, idiot. Straight, cold idiot, okay? Cocky, attitude, just, and it rolls downhill. So that's the issue I'm dealing with right now. Okay. I'll update you on it. I definitely want to be clear, transparent about it, because a lot of you out there may be going through situations like this. I get a lot of questions sometimes about issues that people are involved in. I'm not able to respond to them because it's so deep. There's so much that goes on, but dealing with, especially when you're not getting paid, that is the biggest issue. People always are reaching out to me about not getting paid, especially when there's no contract or the person that they're dealing with is not properly licensed, but they had them do the work. A lot of times we are afraid to go to that next step, like afraid to go and talk to the owner, or don't even know what is that next step, right? How do I approach the owner? How do I show the owner that I do have an agreement, a verbal agreement with this contractor, and I have been working at your house or your property? And sometimes you got to go to the top. You want to create movement, but you want to create it the right way. So you got to understand what paperwork that you need to file, right? So right now, I'm only sending emails, okay? The other route I told you I would have took was create a prelim, write up a prelim, which is a 1-sheeter, right? Write up a prelim and go drop it off. I would have dropped it off at the management company at that property, right? Now, mind you, when I drop that prelim off, that prelim is not even recorded yet. You got to go to the county recorder's office to get that submitted, right? I just go and take the prelim, drop it off. Why do I do that? That's a direct communication with the owner or with the top man, whoever's the top person at the management company. That goes directly to them, because I go in there and say, hey, I want to drop off this prelim. I'm having some issues with the general contractor. Please forward this to whomever needs to hear about this, because I'm going next to go file this. So you get that ball rolling. They send it off, and then you also send one, whether if you send it through the generic email from the website or you send it directly to someone's email that you know of at the management company. You also get it over to them, and then you overnight that same prelim to them as well. And that'll get them moving. Just give it 48 hours, and they get it moving. And if worst case, if you need to move forward after that, then you can go ahead and perfect that, go ahead and process that 20-day preliminary notice so you can perfect that lien. Once you perfect that lien, you see, everyone that has these properties around, especially these apartment buildings, eventually, if they're not looking to keep it, eventually either they're going to be selling it or they're going to be pulling out on the apartment. Eventually, that lien will stop everything. So no one wants to even start that process. Okay. Now, if they really don't understand that process, someone's in key position really don't understand that process, then that could be an issue because you got to go through the paperwork. I don't want to go through perfecting the lien. Okay. It's a hassle, especially right now with the court systems, not up to par. But nonetheless, we can still file, we can still push through. So my biggest thing right now is really not getting paid. Even though I'm owed for 4 units already completed, my biggest thing is getting an SCA, getting an actual agreement, a subcontractor agreement. That's what SCA is for. So I can actually get the checks paid to myself directly instead of through another company and through me. So now I'm only doing that because I'm running into issues with the project manager, and I don't want to go ahead and work out things with him anymore. I don't want to bend the curve and work with him that way. Let's just go ahead and keep this legally, just in case I need to file some paperwork on you. So you need to push that through. I don't care if it's 3 units. I don't care if it's 1 unit. You need to push that through. So that's what's going on. I'll update you more on that. More is to come. Okay. I'm on a project right now. We still rocking and rolling over here. I got my alcohol spray or my white salt spray. Now this is all right. So I'm gonna end this video and start a whole new video about this project. All right.